In the last video, we talked about archive pages, especially for custom post types, and we created a new template, archive-book.php, that's going to generate our book archive page here. And in this video, all we're going to do is walk through this template a little bit. A lot of this is going to be review, but I want to kind of emphasize how these template pages work and how an archive page is very, very similar to the single pages that we've already been working with. So if we look at this template, this should be very familiar, right? We're setting up a page, we're getting our header file, we've talked about all of this. And then we have this line on line 17, and this is what we call the loop. And you'll notice that, or you'll remember that when we were making a page, say for a single book right here, we have that same line of code: if have post, while have post, the post. And basically that line of code says we're going to do something for everything that you feed it, okay? And in this case, we're feeding it our book archive, our book objects, okay? But so the point that I want to make is an archive page is exactly like a single page, except for that the system, Wordpress, is going to send it or feed it a bunch of books instead of only one book like we have here, okay? And then we're just going to repeat this code for every book that we give it, all right? So this is the code that I copy and pasted in last time. And for every book that we give it, we're going to start with an archive element. Okay, we're going to spit out a thumbnail. We haven't really talked about thumbnails yet. But if we look at our book objects, most things in WordPress are set to have what's called a featured image. It's over here in the sidebar. So here's my featured image, and you can set a featured image here, and that ends up as the, it's also called a post thumbnail. So what this little bit of code is doing is spitting out the thumbnails that we see here. Some of this you'll just have to figure out a little bit, but I could make those thumbnails bigger if I needed to, right? I don't have to write perfect PHP to understand what that line of code is doing. So if I refresh here, I now have the larger thumbnails that I might need. If we keep going down, post title, this is stuff that we've done before. The important thing on this line to think about is this is creating a link, right? So that here's my opening A tag, and inside the href attribute, I have the permalink function inside PHP, and what that does is say just give me a link to this object. And that means that in WordPress, we don't have to think about the links for things or what the links are, and we can change the links later. All I have to know is this template is always going to output a link to this book. Okay, so when you see a permalink or when you hear that word, that's what's going on, and this is the PHP code to create a permalink. The title, that's what's going to be clicked on, and then this is the section that I would be changing if I was making, say, a book archive, because I don't need the time that this was published, right? It doesn't matter. The author here, author means the author within the system, right, who created this post within WordPress, not the author of the book. So I wouldn't want to display that. I probably wouldn't want comments here, so I would just delete all of this. I'm working in a child theme. I've created a copy, so this is mine to change. This line would create an excerpt from the main content, but we're not using that main content field here, so I could get rid of that. And any of my custom, advanced custom field tags that I want to use, I can. So the book type has a custom field called description. So just like we did before when we were creating a single template, I can output a custom field here, update, and when I refresh, I should now have descriptions under each. Yep. So this is getting closer to the page that I might want. This is also the time that I would want to think about, well, I might have a long description on the single book page, but I might want a really short description on my book page, right? So I might want to attach another custom field to my books that's like one sentence description or something like that. And the really nice thing there is a one sentence description can get pulled in all sorts of places, right? I might need it on this page, I might need it in promotional material, but when I start thinking about objects in this way, my content becomes a lot more useful, and I'm not rewriting stuff all over all the time. Okay. The last thing I'll say about these archive pages is once I've written my single template, I can reuse a lot of this code. So if I come down, here's my PHP code that spits out a list of authors, right? So I start with this UL and I go to this UL. I can just copy and paste this into my archive template. So after I have my title and permalink, I can post in my authors. And because these loops work the way they do, right, because I'm just feeding it a thing, this code becomes very reusable. Okay, I haven't set an author here, but I've set an author here, so this works. Okay.